Sports professor Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard, the serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously. But listen, we're dealing with a trillion dollar sports business, getting bigger every year. Masters over, draft just beginning. NFL leads to the draft and beyond. NHL playoffs, week 1. NBA playoffs, week 1. Warriors win 73. Kobe ends with 60. Jersey spots on NBA jerseys now for more revenue. And Major League Soccer continues. NASCAR revs up. The bottom line is it is a significant business, but also law, marketing, and journalism dealing with issues in a contemporary and diverse way. A lot of schools provide one-off approach to their issues. You can deal with sports law, sports business, sports journalism, sports marketing, but maybe not all in one program. Arizona State University is out to change all that. Last week, an audience of nearly 200 students, faculty, industry professionals gathered to hear a diverse range of discussions, academic and professional, regarding the future of pro sports industry. It's the first time there's been a serious integration of law, business, and journalism that embodies the sports industry. Representatives from the local sports networks started the event with a conversation about the future of sports medias, one of the technological advances, fantasy sports, more generally gaming. Another panel hosted by the Carey School of Business brought together the voice of the Arizona Cardinals on regional radio and the head of fantasy sports company, a national media spokesperson on sports, and a local state senator with a vested interest in the fantasy industry. The keynote address highlighted the themes of the discussion, presented by Power 5 faculty athletics representative, a leading sports attorney, longtime sports agent, and director of ASU's Sports Law and Business program. The panel focused on the roadblocks faced by college administrators who are forced to balance the business side, the legal issues, and the human rights aspect of big-time college athletics. The bottom line is there is no time for division. In fact, the time is ripe for coordination. Thank you, Arizona State. Big times ahead for them. Now we talk about mega events. The Masters over. How about Jack Nicklaus talking about his business? The draft coming. Jim Steig, who created basically the way the draft is today. And the NFL's new business with Twitter. Jeff Ma, the director of business insights for that company, talking about how they're developing their new projects with the NFL and beyond. A blockbuster show. Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard. See you in a minute.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now, 800-480-5708. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-480-5708. That's 800-480-5708. Again, 800-480-5708.
iHeartRadio loves music, so let's count the ways. Over 20 million songs from 800,000 artists, all free. And like Pandora, you can create your own custom station from any of those 800,000 artists. Just tell us an artist or even a song that you like, and we'll build a custom playlist for you. Add to that thousands of the best live radio stations, and you'll never have to worry about finding the perfect song for your commute, mood, or party. Millions of songs, thousands of stations, one free app. iHeartRadio is that easy. Download our iHeartRadio app today or listen online at iHeartRadio.com.
Looking to get away this winter? Visit the charming bayside town of Tiburon, located just minutes from San Francisco. The Lodge at Tiburon is steps from the ferry docks and nestled among Tiburon's upscale boutiques, enticing cafes, and unique galleries. Dine at award-winning Tiburon Tavern, serving innovative dishes prepared with ingredients grown in our very own garden. Join us at the Lodge at Tiburon and create long-lasting memories. Winter specials from $159 a night. Call 1-877-614-6068 or go to lodgeattiburon.com.
I'm the sports professor Rick Horrow with Beyond the Scoreboard, trillion-dollar sports industry. And the bottom line theme is the integration of law, business, and journalism that comprises the entire industry. Arizona State University paid homage to that last week through their sports law and business program. Nearly 200 students, faculty, and industry professionals gathered. Student athletes, professionals, and academics alike shared ideas. Ray Anderson, the school's athletic director, talked about how Sun Devil Athletics and Arizona State University, one of the elite institutions in America, but they can also deal with law, marketing, journalism, business as a galvanizing force to the entire region and thought leadership in the entire industry. The panelists from media, technology, intercollegiate athletics, and the like. The first time a real concerted effort through a university to combine in many ways its law, business, and journalistic programs for the greater good. And with a trillion-dollar sports industry, it surely is needed. Sports professor Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard, serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously. An interesting theme this week, mega events after the Masters. Britain celebrated its first green jacket since Sir Nick Faldo last donned it 20 years ago. Four-time European Tour winner Danny Willett joins two-time winner Faldo as the only Brits ever to win Augusta National. Willett, number 12 before his Masters victory, turned pro in 2008, claimed over $12 million in career earnings before his Masters payout of $1.8, and his second win of the year following Dubai in its Desert Classic, pocketing over $500,000 for the win. Willett almost didn't even attend due to the birth of his son, but it's a good thing he did for agent Chubby Chandler of ISM and sponsors Callaway, Audemars Piguet, and Malaysian hotel chain Sawana. After his obligatory round of American talk show interviews, Willett plans on joining the PGA Tour next year. He stemmed a British drought that pales in comparison to tennis, where it took Andy Murray 77 years to follow Britain's Fred Perry's Wimbledon win. First guest is someone who needs no introduction, but we'll do it anyway. The Golden Bear, Masters winner, 6 times. Looks good in green, by the way. World Golf Hall of Famer, and obviously the iconic golfer that will emerge in history as probably the best ever, and certainly a mentor and friend to me, Jack Nicklaus.
So few of us know what it's like to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball or block a 250-pound linebacker, but standing over a golf ball trying to make a shot is the same for you and me as it is for the pros. So how come there's only one Jack William Nicklaus? He dominated the game for 25 years as a player, and for the last 25, he's been a towering figure in the golf business. His Nicklaus companies have grown to include travel, wine, crystal, and apparel, as well as course design around the world. He is, in short, golf's heaviest hitter. So what first separated Jack from the pack? He has a pretty simple answer.
I think the one thing that separated me was because I didn't separate myself. I never believed that I was any better than anybody else. I always believed that I had all these guys out there that could play well, and if I was going to stay on top of them, I had to play better. Sure, I got beat sometimes. I got beat a lot, but I obviously won more often than not. Today, when I see the kids playing out there, and I see some of them, and I see how they don't ever meet their potential, I'm sitting there and I say, God, I just don't understand that. When we played golf, we had to win to be able to make a living. In other words, we didn't make a living playing golf. We had made it on the outside with endorsements and other things. Today, the kids can make a living playing golf, and a kid that finishes in the top 5 or top 10 makes a great living today. It's about money. It's not about the game anymore, and it needs to be about the game.
Who is the next best, greatest American golfer to be?
I think to be determined. You throw Dustin Johnson into that deal. You'd throw Ricky Fowler into that deal. I think you throw Patrick Cantley. When Tiger was really playing very well, people kept asking me, who's his competition? I said, well, his competition is yet to come. So I think it's to be determined.
Does the golf business need Tiger as much as it did 5 years ago, let's say?
No. Tiger's a great addition to the game, and he's a great player. But we've got some new kids. I mean, there's Webb Simpson's just come along, Keegan Bradley. We've got a lot of young kids come along that are really, really talented, and more good players on the scene today than I've seen in a long, long time.
Let's segue to Tiger for a second. Are you disappointed with the way he has carried himself over the last 5 years?
I don't think it's my position to make judgment on Tiger's life. He's a great player. He's got a great work ethic. He's had some injuries. Whether he'll recover from those injuries and whether he'll get his game back and whether in between his ears, based on some of his other problems, whether he'll get that back, I personally think he will. He's just too good an athlete and too focused not to.
Will he win 19 majors?
I think he probably will. Yeah, I think he probably will, but it's I don't think he still has to do it.
How will you feel if he wins his 19th?
Rick, it's not. I don't have any control over that. It's like I didn't have any control over Watson chipping in at Pebble Beach and to cost me a U.S. Open. I mean, all I can do is what I do. I can't do I can't control somebody else. So if Tiger does that, I want to stick my hand out and say, well done.
So if golfers were stocks, who would you buy, who would you sell, and who would you hold?
I think we need a mutual fund here. We need several of them. You've got some really good young players that you say, hey, I think I want to spread my bet here and take a nice conservative look at it.
And sell?
Well, that one I think I better keep to myself.
Like many athletes, Jack Nicklaus first built a business on his name and reputation. But after 3 decades, the Nicklaus companies have grown so extensive and diverse that I asked him for his elevator speech. How does he describe his business today?
Our business primarily is design, marketing, and branding. I think the design business is right in the trash can right now in the United States. Our business is overseas, so golf in China and India, Russia, Brazil, Argentina. Those places is where all our business is. Branding, I think my ability to brand is bigger outside the United States than it is in the United States. We're fortunate that the company is doing pretty darn well under the conditions of the economy.
34 countries you have a presence in. What is the next international golf design gold mine?
Gold mine? I don't know if there is a gold mine.
Opportunity.
I think the game of golf is having a hard time in most of the mature golfing nations. I mean, obviously China is growing much faster than people think it is because it's really a very immature sport. India will be another place that it'll grow. Russia's gotten very popular. There's a lot of people, even though they don't have the weather, but the next place I think is going to be Brazil, frankly. I mean, Brazil's got a lot of people. It's going to have the Olympics. It's going to stir an interest. They don't have one public facility in Brazil right now. And I think that may be the next place that you're going to see a lot of growth.
Growing the sport is Nicklaus's passion as well as his business mission. To him, the game's success depends on connecting to people.
What's the hardest part is when most people were growing up, the amateurs and the pros could relate to each other. That means that people could relate to what a pro was doing. Today it's very difficult for the average golfer to relate to the pro. He hits 100 yards further than do. It's hard to relate. I think that's a big mistake for the game of golf. We shouldn't design a golf course around a golf ball. We should design a golf course for the land and use a very inexpensive ball to fit the thing. I mean, the game of golf, Rick, the game becomes too tough. The game takes too long. It's hard to bring people in. We've lost 25, 30% of the women and children in the game in the last 5 years. I mean, it's a big problem for us. And we need to think out of the box. How do we bring people into the game? We're not trying to change the game. We're just trying to bring new ways to bring people into the game.
I know your number one priority in life is to be known as a great family man, but for 2 and 3, is it a world-class golfer or a world-class businessman?
Well, I've always felt that golf is I always said my family was first, my golf has been second, and my business has been third. I mean, today it's reversed, and business is more important than golf because golf is something I've done. I can't do anything about it. And but golf is my business.
The Golden Bear has mellowed a little bit, but he certainly hasn't mellowed as far as his impact on the game and tradition. Next up, Jim Steig, Super Bowl, NFL Draft, mega events. Rick Horrow, sports professor, back in a minute.
Attention catheter users. Stop reusing dirty catheters. Catheters are now disposable. Recent changes in Medicare now allow patients up to 200 disposable catheters a month, all at little or no cost to you. We bill Medicare. Put an end to the mess and risk of infection by using old catheters. Just use a catheter once and throw it away. Eliminate trips to the pharmacy and insurance paperwork. Shipping is free. Receive a free catheter sample by calling and joining Medical Direct Club right now. Call 1-800-399-9018 to receive your free catheter sample discreetly delivered right to your door. That's 1-800-399-9018. 1-800-399-9018. Call 1-800-399-9018 today. Deductibles and copays apply. Free catheter samples require qualified membership. Sample will arrive with 90-day order.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion hip settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
Sports professor Rick Horrow, Beyond the Scoreboard. The series shows doesn't take itself too seriously. How about Jack Nicklaus? Well, we talked about the Masters, and now we get into the NFL Draft, and somebody who has had a significant hand in planning it, as well as Super Bowls, Jim Steig, a noted business stadium and events consultant, and he's considered to be the one individual who's responsible for growing the Super Bowl and NFL Draft into the mega events they are, was in charge of all financial aspects of the Miami Dolphins way back when, and oversaw the operations of the NASL, Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Miami Toros, and the like. But more important, Jim Steig worked with the NFL for a long time. He was the guy that made the Super Bowl what it is. today. He's also involved in the advisory committee to bring the stadium process to San Diego and see where that's going. So we got a lot to talk about with the guy. How's that for an intro?
That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to get you out there. Can you type that up so I can send it out on my resume?
Stream of consciousness kind of thing, man. I can't even remember. So the bottom line is Jim Steig has a tremendous history in all of this, and he's the guy who can give us some perspective on it. So first of all, give everybody, not that you need to, but qualify yourself. Give us like a minute of your experience and kind of your NFL work and how you ended up doing the consulting work that you're doing.
Well, you may remember we started way back in the days in Miami working for the Dolphins for 4 years and had pretty good success there. And then I spent 26 years with the NFL, was hired by Pete Rozelle to run the first ever sports special events department, which was the Super Bowl, the draft, the European games, anything that kind of happened outside of the league office was in charge of, Pro Bowl, things like that. And did that for 26 years, left there and spent 6 years as chief operating officer of the Chargers, and just kind of got tired of the rat race in some way and started doing some consulting work after that. Worked for the Pac-12, helped the NHL on their Stadium Series games. Outdoors, one in the Dodger Stadium, one in Soldier Field. Just got done doing an event with Shaun White outside the Rose Bowl where we built a 160-foot ramp and snowboarded and skied off that and had 18 bands playing, kind of a chance for, a music festival type area to meet up with action sports. So it was a lot of fun. And then got called by the mayor about 2 months ago, it seems like longer ago, to ask if I would try to help him bring this whole Chargers thing to a conclusion and figure out the right place and the right way to finance everything. Ironically, he called me before all this LA stuff started to come up because he was really interested in trying to get it resolved. But obviously, since we first talked, LA has had, I think, every team in the NFL dance with it in the last 2 months.
Yeah, well, so that's a pretty good qualification list, which means we got to talk quickly because we got a lot to cover. Let's talk about the most current issue first. I don't think I've ever seen, and I've worked with the league, not as much as you have, but I don't think I've ever seen a situation where a city has gone from everybody's leverage candidate to a desire to get a public-private partnership done without the funds necessary to do it, to 3 teams, all of whom have varying degrees of significant mobility, chasing 4 different sites with one plan for a joint venture as leverage between 2 teams. The other plan depends on a stadium on the banks of the Mississippi River, and on and on. Is it just time? Or is it a perfect storm?
Oh, I think it's time and a perfect storm all put together. I think it's come together at this time that you've got all these teams that have been operating on 1-year leases. The Raiders, the Chargers, the Chargers obviously not on a 1-year lease, but they have a 1-year opt-out, and the Rams. And it just came to that point in time that something had to happen. And, of course, the league now, it's been 20 years since the Rams and the Raiders have left town. I think a lot of options have come up. I think the economy has changed dramatically, over the course of the last, 7 or 8 years, going back to 07 and 08 when it was really tough. And I think the value of property, the value of the building boom, all that sort of stuff, all has come together to make it an option and a reality. And you've got in L.A. a lot of things that are taking place. I mean, the Rose Bowl just went through a renovation. The Coliseum's about ready to go through a major renovation. So I just think it's probably the right time that something's going to happen in Los Angeles. And you've got these teams that are all available. And I think the minute the first domino fell, that one of them, in the case of the Rams, said that this was a distinct possibility and wanted to get it done. The other guys are kind of trying to protect their turf. Maybe with the fact that they want to protect their leverage in their own communities and make sure they've got it going. And it's time for all these things to happen because certainly out here in California, between the Raiders and the Chargers, you've got the 2 oldest stadiums around, probably the 2 worst stadiums, in the league from that standpoint. So it's time for that stuff to be able to move.
Well, in the interest of the fact we have 10 minutes and we've got a little bit of time to talk about other stuff too, why don't we just cut to the chase, not where it is today because it's going to be outdated 3 weeks from now. What do you think? Can you put a crystal ball on this? And I know you're kind of semi-objective because you are involved in the San Diego Stadium situation, but how's this all play out? Where are we on this 2 years from now?
Well, I've always felt in my own mind, and this is just my feeling, that it's kind of tough to all of a sudden drop two teams in at Los Angeles simultaneously. There's reasons why the Rams and the Raiders left. And you could talk about stadium being that, but obviously they both had attendance issues, things like that. And you've got to be able to go out and try to sell and get into that market, whether that's selling 70,000 seat tickets or selling 10,000 club seats or selling 200 suites. All those type of things have to take place. And if multiple teams are trying to do that at the same time, it cannibalizes the market to a point I'm not sure you can get there. And you keep saying, well, there's 12, 13 million people in Los Angeles. But, they've taken up other life in the last, really the last generation of people there. So I think they've really got to look at what's best and how to get that done. And it's a deliberate process to do it the right way and not get themselves in a position where the league's looking at something in 5 or 6 years to get the same problems.
Yeah, good point. Forward-thinking point. Maybe that's why it's not going to happen, or maybe why they need you in the middle of this process. In any event, let's go on to some other stuff. So a couple of minutes we have left. Special events. How hard is it for you to put on an event that you just put on? I mean, not only the Winter Classic or Stadium Series stuff, but the huge event that you put on that appeals to extreme sports. You put on a number of different kind of events in a very short period of time. Is the business changed for the future of these mega events? Is it easier? Is it harder? What's the future trend?
Well, the cost factor has changed dramatically. I can remember when the Super Bowl and it cost you $3 to $5 million to put on. But all these events are now talking. You're closing in on $10 million plus almost every time you do something. And a lot of it, of course, has to do with buying out teams to have them do something. Everybody, it's the almighty buck that's at the bottom of it. But I think that they are very difficult. It's a little bit easier when you're with the league because you've got an infrastructure, be that from the league offices or be that from the teams that will put together. It's a lot more difficult to do independently, like we just got done with the Shaun White event, because you're putting a group together in a very short period of time that will disband soon after it's over. And you've got a lot of people that are part-time coming together, so it's a lot more difficult. I know that everybody thinks these days that everything's easier because you've got emails and conference calls and things like that, but I still believe it's still the getting everybody together in one place, meeting and discussing, and to talk over the water cooler, if you want to say that, or just conferences that you've got a chance to meet and talk to everybody about it. So I think they're very tough and they're very expensive, and it takes a long time to develop them to make them viable. I think the NHL's done a good job. I mean, this has been, 6-7 years since they did the first Winter Classic, and they've really developed a model that they can take different places. So that's worked very effectively. But I do think they're very difficult to get done on a one-time basis, and you've got to decide that you're going to invest in something, that it's going to be something that you're probably not going to make money the first time out. You may not make money till you're in the 4th or 5th year of doing it.
Well, sometimes, Jim, old school is the best school, and we've talked about that before. Final question for you. Got about a minute left. Public-private partnerships, broadly defined. I know we're in the middle of that. San Diego, the whole California situation as well. The special and the mega events, the Stadium Series, tourism as it relates to bringing people into hotels and restaurants and economic impact. Has that trend changed in recent years, and where do you think that whole issue is going?
Well, it's obviously it's evolved. Whether it was 90-10 public versus private. In the old days, it's probably getting more like 20-80 at this point. I think there's involvement. There's always involvement in these communities for supporting infrastructure-wise to make things happen.
Well, we know the NFL Draft is a big deal, thanks to Jim Steig and others, and we'll return with the legacy of Twitter and the NFL. Rick Horrow, sports professor, will be back in a minute.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for prescription drugs? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get prescription drugs at huge discounts from Canada Drug Center. That's right, the most popular drugs for cholesterol, high blood pressure, depression, diabetes, arthritis, and many more are now up to 75% off. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices when you can get brand name drugs at the lowest price? Call today and get up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs. Never pay high prices again. Get the most popular drugs at huge savings from our Canadian and international pharmacies and fulfillment centers. No insurance? No problem. Prices are so low you do not need benefits or insurance to get all your prescriptions fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting to take your call now. Order today and get free shipping. Just call 800-950-1180. Up to 75% off all the popular brand name prescription drugs and free shipping. Call 800-950-1180. That's 800-950-1180.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 877-663-7126 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 877-663-7126 to take your call now. Call 877-663-7126. That's 877-663-7126. Again, 877-663-7126.
Rebuild or replace transmission, $3,200. Anti-lock brake system, $1,000. Rebuild or replace engine, $2,400. Truth is, once your manufacturer's warranty runs out, it's all on you. Every last cent. Get protection for covered repairs with a vehicle service contract from Toco Warranty. Unlike other companies, with Toco, there's no down payment, and the monthly payments are really affordable. Not sure how long you're keeping your car? At Toco, you can pay as you go. Keep your hard-earned cash and call Toco Warranty right now at 800-222-2313 to save big money on covered auto repairs. Prices vary by vehicle, but for about the cost of a tank of gas per month, a Toco plan has your back on expensive covered car repairs. Monthly payments are very affordable. Get your free quote now. Call Toco at 800-222-2313. That's 800-222-2313. 800-222-2313. Cancellation fee may apply. Subject to eligibility. Not available in Missouri and Washington. Waiting period and deductible apply. Coverage provided and administered by Warrantech Corporation or its affiliates. Not affiliated with any manufacturer or dealership. Visit TocoWarranty.com for complete terms and conditions.
Rick Horrow, sports professor, serious show, doesn't take itself too seriously. Beyond the Scoreboard, Jeff Ma, the director of Business Insights for Twitter, big data to make big strategic decisions. The NFL and Twitter, brand new partners. And by the way, real life story of bringing down the house in 21. He'll tell us about it. Jeff Ma. Rick Horrow with Kevin Lewis. Oh, that's bringing down the house.
Yeah.
Right. No, with Ben Campbell. Oh, that's 21. So obviously, Jeff Ma, many times emulated, probably never duplicated. Right. So how do you feel being a movie hero?
It was a fun experience. I don't know if I'm necessarily a movie hero, but certainly having the movie made about the sort of things that we did in Vegas was fun, and it's kind of fun to have your story told on the big screen.
On the theory that not every Reuters high demographic listener understands what I meant by that opening. Right. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was, the guy by the name of Ben Mesrick wrote the book Bring Down the House, and it was about the MIT blackjack team, and sort of I was one of the central figures in that book. It's all about how we used math to beat the casinos by counting cards, by taking advantage of the fact that blackjack is a game with a memory, meaning what you see impacts what you're going to see. So if you track the cards as they come out, you can basically figure out what your odds are going to be going forward, and you can bet more when your odds are in your favor and bet less when they're not in your favor. Eventually the book got turned into a movie called 21, which Kevin Spacey was in, and I actually played a small starring role in. And the main central character, Ben Campbell, as you mentioned, was sort of based off of the experiences that I had.
Were you a de facto consultant in addition to an on-screen star?
I did spend some time on the set and helped talk through a few of the scenes early on when the script was being written by a guy named Peter Steinfeld. I actually helped out with it and gave him some ideas and inspiration, I think.
Is Kevin Spacey a better blackjack player now because of the movie?
I don't know. I mean, we had some fun times with the cast, more Kate Bosworth and those types of people. We took them out and taught them how to play.
Interesting concept, obviously. And are you allowed in Vegas casinos?
No, I'm not allowed to play. Well, I'm allowed in the casinos. I'm just not allowed to play blackjack anywhere. Yeah.
Wow, what fun is that? So obviously you morphed into just one more question about the MIT blackjack team. Will blackjack ever be a D1 athletic sport, do you think?
No, I mean, it's not like we wore varsity jackets around or anything like that. It was a team only in name. Well,
and only in success, probably pretty much too. Director of Business Insights for Twitter, that's what I really want to talk about as well. Obviously, the story of Twitter defies traditional analysis and is incredible. So where's it been, and in general, where are you helping it go?
Yeah, so Twitter acquired my company, 10Xer, about a year ago, and I've been working there for the last year. My role as Director of Business Insights is basically running a group of really smart data scientists to try to understand Twitter and how it's growing and how we can keep it growing or continue solving some of the problems that the company faces using data at the core and helping the company make really good data-driven decisions on the strategy level.
Can you tell historically the culture of the founders obviously permeates, and when you were acquired as well? Is there a pressure to kind of be one step ahead of the Facebook, Snapchat curve? Do you have this mentality that you're kind of the thought leaders in the space?
I think that generally in Silicon Valley, like anyone that works in a situation like Twitter or startups, we're always trying to figure out where things are going, and we're always trying to grow. I mean, a company like Twitter, we need to continue growing both revenue and users. And so we're always trying to understand what are trends and what are things. And Twitter's a phenomenon. I mean, people, with 300 million users that use it, it's a phenomenon.
Where does it go? That's too simple a question. But 5 years from now, for example, where do you envision Twitter to be?
I think Twitter could be a lot of different things. I mean, Twitter is an incredible communication platform. It's an incredible messaging platform. And the idea of a lot of things that are Twitter, the fact that it's very real time, it's also very public. I think it'll continue to be a great place for people to, express their opinions and really be a part of society and the fabric of society.
Is this a zero-sum game relative to free time consumption? In that we understand sports, as we're here for conference. But it's reality TV, and sports will be safe. But the whole on-demand world cannibalizes people's time relative to how they could be otherwise spending it. So is the expansion of Twitter a threat to traditional TV or traditional media? Where do you see that playing out?
I mean, I think the media landscape is changing, and I think it's always going to be changing. I mean, like 20 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever, when ESPN started becoming successful, it was because of a new platform, cable, and that was what happened. And so at every level, Yahoo Sports has become incredibly successful because of the internet. And then you have other companies like Bleacher Report, which really has done well because of the internet, because of mobile and whatnot. So there's always going to be new media platforms that are going to change the media landscape.
Twitter always the home of social, personal content, but there are discussions about Twitter and Snapchat and Facebook and others actually bidding for the rights to sports content, sports programming, NFL, for example.
Sure.
Do you see that happening?
I think that like I mentioned, like platforms are all where people consume media is constantly going to change, right? And the idea that you could watch a game on your phone, if you thought about that, 10 years ago, would almost have been unthinkable, like bandwidth issues and whatnot. Certainly, all these social media companies are going to become big players in media at some level.
You're clearly the no-brainer, clearly the smartest guy in this room. But the whole idea that lawyers are up all night billing clients astronomical amounts trying to identify the clarity in rights fees going forward, television, mobile, stadium, the blurring of the distinctions and the use and leaning on mobile phones, there has to be some turbulence relative to rights fees down the road. I could ask you how it all shakes out, but can I give me a top-line view of all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think rights fees are certainly going to change and evolve just because there's different ways to consume media. I mean, I think that, the challenge is obviously, like you said, it's lawyers kind of sitting around and thinking about the best ways, and traditionally the leagues have thought about protecting their assets more than just monetizing them in lots of different directions. So I think the leagues are really thinking more progressively about this now, and I think the idea of being able to watch games in many different platforms or in many different media is what's going to happen. So I think rights fees will become, I think they're going to evolve. I think hopefully maybe there'll be more rev share and that type of stuff versus the actual sort of like really big upfront rights fees that really limit the ability to see games to potentially one platform.
And so at the very least, you would think that the rights fees, rights deals will cut across platforms, in theory.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm certainly not an expert in any of this, but I do think that the traditional way that leagues have looked at rights is not going to work going forward. So I think they're going to have to think a little bit differently about how they monetize their content. You,
the bio says you have consulted or consult for the Blazers and the Niners. Are you calling plays for Kaepernick? What are you doing?
I would tell him to run a lot.
Yeah.
If that were the case.
It doesn't take you to do that. There are a lot of people who think that. So what are you doing for them?
Well, I don't work with either of those teams really anymore. I work with a sort of a major apparel brand still a little bit on with some analytics and that type of thing. But generally, like my days of working with teams, we used to do some work helping them understand some of their in-game strategy and a little bit of work helping them understand who to draft based on college statistics. Well,
let's talk about that for a second, even though you're not actively consulting in that space. The whole draft prediction, we're coming up on it in the next 6 weeks, and the latest numbers, each team, I think, employs 37,000 scouts to try to figure out what they're trying to do, and a lot of it is predictive, and half of them hit. What's your insight in that whole draft process? If you were to change it,
it's a very inexact science, and I think that the idea would be to try to get as many picks as you can and hope portfolio theory and hope that some of them pan out. But there's drafting, especially in college football, and with so few picks and things like that, it's difficult. And I think that the problem with a lot of those types of stats is you just don't get very many games. Like these college players don't play that many games. There's just not a huge amount of sample size. There's a huge disparity in level of competition. It's just a very difficult thing to project out.
What I'm going to do is we're going to replay that to the scouting trade show and see how they feel about that. From day one, and this conference for the last 10 years focuses on sports analytics and the whole Moneyball debate and how much is in the mind, how much is in the heart, and how much is in the stats. What's your sense of all of that? There's a role. Is there where is the blend? Where's the mix?
Well, I think it's exactly that. It's a mix, right? And what you're trying to do with this Moneyball or with the stats is you're just trying to put a framework around using data to make decisions. It's not necessarily like you can't measure heart or something like that. You can certainly try. You can try to measure how intelligent a player is. There's definitely ways to measure intangibles. The whole idea of Moneyball or of any of this data type stuff is like, let's find better ways to sort of solve problems or to predict, outcomes. And let's do that by really focusing on getting real data and using that data to make decisions. And so anything that you do, you can create data around it or a framework around it to take what is normally feeling very subjective and make it feel a little bit more objective.
Too general a question, but you're the Director of Business Insights in a company that deals with sports as part of its life. Do most sports decision makers or people involved, they feel threatened by you? Do they embrace your solutions?
Well,
do they like to engage in conversations with you?
I certainly try not to be threatening in terms of saying that like the data is the only answer.
Yeah.
I think data is a great way to help people make decisions. And so my job, as part of my job, is to take the data and actually sell it in to the organization to help the organization understand and believe in sort of some of the insights that we get.
This is a global audience. It's international. Twitter is global and continues to be global. Are borders, how less important are borders today than they were before? And, what's the tangible next step on that?
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is certainly international. It's a platform. That's the beauty of it. It's used very differently in certain locales and very differently in certain countries. And, the borders are probably based on language more than anything, but generally, it's the thing that's so great about Twitter. It is ubiquitous, and it is a place that you can go. And, if you're in another country, you can see what's going on in another country. So.
Yeah. A couple more on fantasy, the perception of whether it's gambling or not. What's your take on it?
I think, it's a form. It depends, I guess, how you define gambling. If you're talking about the legal definition of gambling, that's a very gray area. I don't want to have an argument with you about that.
Right.
In terms of comparing it to betting on sports, I think it's very similar.
And then finally, I guess 5 years out, it's hard to do this, obviously, but give me some sense of where your industry is and where Twitter is in that space.
In 5 years, my industry, meaning the data industry?
Yeah, broadly defined.
I think I'd like to see data people be really a fixture at the C-level at companies, because I think they are oftentimes some of the smartest people in the company, and they're equipped to help the company make really good decisions. So having those data type people at the C-suite or the C-level helping companies make decisions is really important. As far as Twitter goes, who knows? The sky's the limit. There's just awesome opportunities there. It's an amazing product and an amazing company.
I'll get my credit card out. Let's go play chess.
Okay,
thanks.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Rick Horrow, sports professor. How about our diversity? Jack Nicklaus, Jim Steig, Jeff Ma. Now, after the break, bust, boom, and hope. Be on the scoreboard. Be back in a minute.
We all know healthcare has changed drastically. It's quite the puzzle to sort through your options and find a health insurance plan that's affordable and maximizes your benefits. And you're now required by law to have health insurance, or you may pay a tax penalty. So let the Health Markets Insurance Agency help you. They offer plans from over 120 different companies and can even help you obtain government subsidies. Let them do all the research for you and show you how affordable health insurance can be, a service that's at no extra cost to you. Call now and learn your options to find affordable health insurance. 800-614-1242. 800-614-1242, 800-614-1242, 800-614-1242. Health Markets Insurance Agency is a DBA or assumed name of Inspire Insurance Solutions, Inc., which is a licensed insurance agency in all 50 states and D.C. Not all agents are licensed to sell all products. Service availability varies by state.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion hip settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 877-663-7126 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 877-663-7126 to take your call now. Call 877-663-7126. That's 877-663-7126. Again, 877-663-7126.
Sports Professor Rick Horrow, welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard, the serious show that doesn't take itself too seriously, but talks about all aspects of sports, business, marketing, and law. And our theme today is the diversity of mega events. We started with Arizona State and their desire to bring all of it under one roof, and they're doing a great job doing it. Let's talk about our regular segment, as we normally have every week at this time. Bust, boom, and hope. The not too good, the good, and the hopeful in this economy. First, bust. The rare occurrence, none of the 7 Canadian NHL franchises making the playoffs this year. Rogers Media expecting to lose money as a result of the Canadian absence. The guys are talking about developing a deal to minimize some of its losses 2 years into its 12-year Canadian $5.2 billion NFL rights deal. Boom. CBS and Turner Sports reached an agreement with the NCAA to tack on an extra 8 years to their joint deal, extending it through 2032 men's basketball tournament. Each additional year expected to be valued at $1.1 billion in rights fees, a big leap from the $771 million per year under the original structure. $770 million, and that's still not enough. Turner, CBS signed a 14-year deal with the NCAA, gives them rights to March Madness TV, digital, marketing, sponsorship for the duration of the tournament. The NCAA exceeded all of our expectations on every metric, says Turner president David Levy, way ahead of where we thought we'd be 6 years ago. That's why we wanted to get it done. And finally, hope. Bryson DeChambeau made his pro debut on the PGA Tour at the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head this week, announced he signed deals with 2 new sponsors. Cobra Puma outfits to provide clubs to DeChambeau, who became only the 5th golfer in history to win both the NCAA Division I championship and the U.S. Amateur in the same year, joining 2 of the game's most popular young stars at Puma, Ricky Fowler, Lexi Thompson. The company firmly believes DeChambeau's signature Hogan-like camp will be the next big thing in golf. Apparently, DeChambeau fits right into this category. His swing is interesting, and let's see if he brings some dollars to Puma. I'd like to thank Jeff Ma. I'd like to thank Jim Steig, and I'd like to thank Jack Nicklaus for giving of their time as we head into the NFL draft after the Masters, NBA, NHL intensifies. Next week, won't you join us when once again we go Beyond the Scoreboard?